Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be, and welcome to a very special extra interview of Final Cut. Today I'm joined by an actress whose debut movie actually had her massaging session interrupted by the very lovable Will Smith, but every actress should be so lucky. But fortunately today, there will be no Will Smith today. So ladies and gentlemen, I give you today's guest, Yasmine Habib.
Hello.
Firstly, how are you?
I'm doing well, and yourself?
I'm not too bad, thank you very much. So the inevitable question, how did you get started out in acting?
Um, it's kind of hard to pinpoint. I started actually in ballet and tap when I was younger, when I was about 5 years old, and that was the first time I was ever on stage. It was actually we were 101 Dalmatians, and I was one of the
Oh yeah.
Dalmatians. So I fell in love with the energy from the crowd and everything, but later on, I decided ballet and tap just wasn't for me. Um, but that led me into belly dancing. And when I started performing more that way, I started making it into little acting gigs here and there just to get the crowd going and stuff. And it just kind of went from there.
Now, obviously, everyone has their influences who they basically look up to. I mean, we actually discussed earlier before we came on that I'm a big fan of Hans Zimmer. His musical themes inspire me to watch certain movies. Chris Nolan, I'm a big fan of his movies. His just the way he makes a film is something special. And Tom Hardy, he's literally a
Mhm.
man who can do everything, and near enough everything he's in is just so
Yeah.
memorable. And Jennifer Lawrence, obviously, the film can be pants, but the critics just absolutely love her in whatever it is.
Yeah.
So, with that bearing in mind, who are your influences growing up? And if you like, who are your influences now?
Um, well, I have quite a few. The biggest ones for me growing up were definitely Robin Williams. That he played a major part in my childhood, and anytime I have to do like a comedic skit, I always think of him. Like, what would Robin do?
Mm.
Selma Hayek for sure,
Oh,
just because she
what a
was
what a
definitely
woman! What a
exactly.
woman!
She was one of those that she was very exotic. She was one of the very first like exotic, most memorable women. Um, and that kind of leads me to my next one, which is Angelica Huston as Morticia. I love
Yeah, I was
Angelica.
about to say I know why you've said Angelica Houston.
Yeah, I love her. And then honestly, and this always throws people off, but Robert De Niro. Anytime I have to do an angry scene, I always turn myself into De Niro.
Is it Raging Bull you think of, or is it Cape Fear?
I loved Cape Fear because it was so different from what you usually see him in.
Mm.
And so I kind of felt like that was more of an acting challenge. Fun fact though, his most memorable movie, Taxi Driver, I have never seen, believe it or not.
I've never seen Taxi Drivers, so we're
Yeah,
both in the same
that's
boat there.
but influences now, it's changed a little bit, but not really by much. Um, I mean, honestly, after working with him a lot, I would say The Rock for sure. Just because of the dedication and the motivation that he really gives people.
Mm.
Um, there's it's really hard to say because there's certain movies I can't announce just yet. But there's between The Rock, I would say Penelope Cruz is good too, but honestly, Johnny Depp, that's my man. I love Johnny Depp. I love his acting, his style, um, and I love that he can fall into almost any character. And sometimes you don't even know it's him.
Indeed. I
So,
didn't actually realise this when I was doing research on you, but your second cousin is actually Tony winning actress Chita Riviera. Do you
mhm.
ask her for advice on the odd occasion if you feel you need it?
I do. We, I'm actually, before COVID, we had planned for me to go stay with her to start kind of following behind, to kind of see what it's like in her daily life.
Mm,
Um, but not as much as you would think, just because she's more theater based, whereas I'm
yeah.
more TV and film.
Mm. say nothing wrong with a bit of theatre. I've actually, as everyone knows who listens or watches my interviews, I actually have kind of gotten liking to musical theatre and theatre in itself.
Hmm.
I do miss musical theatre though, because it's just a shame of everything that's happening
Yeah, yeah. But it's gonna make a comeback. It will.
at some point. And another fact, I actually didn't know this, but you've got another second cousin who is actually Puerto Rican, excuse me, comedian. Is it Ramon Riviero, aka Diplo? So you could say the acting bug is definitely one that runs through your family.
Yes. I also, my brother-in-law he has 2 Emmy Awards for a TV show that he used to have on Telemundo called The Rooftop. So he's a very big Latin DJ, that he actually used on his show. He used to introduce a lot of people like Pitbull and interview people like Bad Bunny and all of them. So it's kind of fun to see how they're coming up now, especially knowing their background and everything.
Oh. So now I know this. Everyone probably doesn't, but Ramon Riviero was actually quite the comedian, literally one of the most famous comedians in Puerto Rico. So
Yes.
would you like to follow in their footsteps and do comedy and slash or go into theatre at some point in your career?
I think I wouldn't be against trying theater again, because I feel like when my parents tried to get me interested in theater, I was still kind of young, so it was more of, oh, I'm missing time with my friends. Um, Comedy is just something that I've always loved, so I'm
Yeah.
definitely hoping to be able to start doing more comedic movies as well.
I wish you luck with when you actually get around to doing it. Now, you are a big fan of 1990s Adams Family. Now,
I
you have alleged this is true. Is this true that you've watched the movie over 125 times?
Yes.
All right then. What is it you love about that movie so much?
There's just so many. I know this may sound weird, but there's just so many little life lessons in there. You have, of course, the family values, because no matter what, they always stand by each other and they're always there for each other. Um, it's the movie itself kind of helps people to realize to embrace their unique weirdness about themselves, that it's okay if you're not like everybody else, like you have something that stands out and that's fine.
Yeah.
um, but the one thing, and I think a lot of people will agree with me on this, is definitely the love story, because there's no better romance than Gomez and Morticia.
Hmm. Are you expecting somebody to sweep you off your feet and say "Cadamia"?
I would totally be fine with that. I do hope to find my Gomez one day.
If there's any suitors out there who's looking for a lady, just remember, act like Gomez from Adam's Family, and you have her. She's literally within your grasp. So you've actually got some special skills because you haven't you been doing belly dancing since you were 5 years old?
I have. I did belly dancing since I was 5, but then I went to sword belly dancing by the age of 15. And then I did attempt fire belly dancing when I was 19, and that did not go the way I wanted it to. So I still stuck to regular belly dancing and sword occasionally.
You're a lady who likes to live dangerous. I like that.
Again, Morticia.
Yeah. All right, then obviously you debuted in Bad Boys for Life. Not a bad way to make your movie debut, but you did actually play Teresa's masseuse in it. So, but what's funny is you are actually a properly trained masseuse. So, how weird was it playing yourself, literally?
It was different, because I've told a few people about this, but I didn't realize when I booked the role that it was actually for the movie. I
Yeah,
thought it was just to be on set as the massage therapist on set. So when they told me it was for the movie, I definitely was nervous because they wouldn't tell me who I was massaging until 5 minutes prior,
mm,
and they didn't tell me who was going to be walking in the room also.
yeah. I bet you're secretly gutted it wasn't Will Smith you were massaging.
A part of me, but I'm kind of glad I didn't because all I kept thinking about was I probably wouldn't have been able to focus. So
Yeah, Will probably would have had you in stitches for hours, probably, to be fair.
exactly, exactly.
All right, then. When did the entire cast and crew find out that you are actually a properly trained masseuse, and did they ask you for a free massage each?
Um, they knew when I was hired on that I was a massage therapist just because of the requirements for it.
Yeah.
Um, but honestly, I had been the call time was 4:30 that morning, and they didn't need me until 5:30 that afternoon. So the rest of the background, I don't know if I should say this, but the rest of the background people that were with me that day, they were paying me to massage them while we waited. So
It's a
I
nice
made
way to make a
some
quick
money.
buck, isn't it?
I
If
made
you've
some
got the
good money.
skills, you might as well use them.
Exactly. And I have my license and everything for it. So they couldn't say that I wasn't supposed to be doing it. And then a couple of the producers were making jokes about it. And they're like, oh, my back really hurts or, oh, my
Oh,
shoulder.
God.
But I didn't know whether I was allowed to put my hands on them. So I just kind of
Yeah,
like stood
better
awkwardly
safe than sorry.
nodded.
But to be fair, what are you supposed to do for 13 hours while you're doing nothing?
Exactly.
You might as well do
Exactly.
something. Right, now you have two projects lined up this year. There's Tyler Perry's The Oval and
Mhm.
Red Notice on Netflix starring Gal Gadot, the ever so lovable Ryan Reynolds,
Mhm.
Hugh Jackman's worst enemy, and, of course, Dwayne. So how
Mhm.
does it feel doing a movie with Deadpool, The Rock, and Wonder Woman? So you literally have three superheroes in one movie.
It's literally it's a dream come true because Wonder Woman and Xena, Warrior Princess, were
Yeah,
like two people I'd always look up to when I was a kid. And then, I mean, The Rock, I have been watching him since China and John Cena and WWE. Um, and I mean, who doesn't love Ryan Reynolds? Deadpool is literally every adult hero. So
did you meet any of them during your time on set?
Ryan wasn't in the scene, but The Rock, I have worked with him before. I did get to see him. Gal Gadot was in the scene as well, but they were, without me giving away anything, they were further away from what I was expecting them to be. And especially
Yeah,
like with the COVID situation too, it was more of the stand-ins on screen a lot more of the time until they actually
yeah,
started rolling.
yeah,
So
yeah. We've only had a teeny weeny little taster of Netflix movies in 2021, which obviously Red Notice was part of. But from your time on set, what can you say about Red Notice? Obviously, without going into spoiler territory.
A lot of action. There's a lot of action in the movie. Um, of course, a good bit of laughter.
Of course.
And I I would say I'd really be surprised if it's not a Netflix hit, to be honest with you.
With three leading cast members like that, I happily predict it will go number
Yeah,
one trending.
I would not doubt that at all. Just because like the amount of work that they put into it, just with like even the setup and everything, it was phenomenal. It was great.
All right then. What advice, just before we go into a quiz, what advice would you give someone, whether they're starting out in the business or they've been in the business many years?
The biggest advice I can give is always listen to your own voice. Um, don't let others deter you from your path because personally, I've had to cut my losses when it comes to people that I thought were friends.
Yeah.
Just because a lot of times people think that they're looking out for you and that they know what your path consists of, but they're not you, and
Hmm.
they're not going to have the same passions and desires that you have to want to do, um, especially in the industry. Because the biggest thing I will say that I love about acting is you can be weird.
Yeah.
It's okay. Like you are accepted for being weird, and so those that don't know how to be vulnerable, they will try to deter you from that industry.
Hmm. Sound advice, if you ask me. Just briefly, do you have any social media where people can follow you?
I usually just use more Instagram. I do have Twitter and all and Facebook, but I really don't use those. Instagram, it's Miss Exotic 14, MIZZEXOTIC 14. And that's usually where I put like some updates here and there, if we're allowed to take pictures on set and things like that.
I'm sure some pictures you should be allowed. I
Mhm.
haven't got my phone with me, but I will follow you on Instagram afterwards if I can
Okay,
remember what it is.
thank you.
So it's just a mini quiz tonight. Nothing too major, nothing too sweaty, as we in the gaming community would say. Just a nice, relaxed little quiz that'll test that'll get the old brain ticking over. So obviously you're an actress. You know of all the genres that are there in the world of movies. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give you a number of movie genres, and you have to say yes or no as to whether you'd accept an offer to appear in them. I
Okay.
believe there's seven, but I have missed a few off, so I'll put them in first. So rom com,
Yeah, I wouldn't be afraid of that.
western.
It would have to be a really good one.
If it was Chris Nolan, would that be enough?
Possibly, I'd have to read it first.
No. He usually has a hit on his hands anyway, so you'd be pretty much safe with if you did a Chris Nolan movie. Science fiction,
Yeah, I definitely would.
a drama,
Yeah, I could totally do a drama.
animation or Japanese anime.
Um, like for the voices for that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely do that.
Uh, horror, my favorite.
That's my favorite. That's definitely what I want to get into the most.
Ooh. Action,
Yes.
adventure.
Yes.
Uh, I'll say comedy because there's obviously romantic comedies, but there's also comedy movies at the same time. So comedy.
Yes.
All right then. Now, what I used to say for this is, you're making your dream movie. You can choose producer, director, and four leads. But since my answers would probably be the same, and not many people are like, well, I don't know what producer I'd have. I've narrowed it down to the choice of director because everyone knows a good director, and four leads. It
Mhm.
can be two men, two women, or three men and one woman, or three women and one man. It's entirely up to you. So,
Okay.
who do you want in your dream movie?
Director wise, it would be really hard because I love Tim Burton
Yeah.
and I also love the Russell brothers. So
Mm.
far, I really like what they've come up with. Um, let's see, lead wise.
Come on, you got to
Um,
say Dwayne. You've been building them
of
up
course, well,
all in.
no,
You got to
of
say
course I'm gonna
Dwayne.
say Dwayne, but I was trying to think. I would say, of course, Dwayne. Um, I would like to actually see Dwayne and Selma Hayek in a movie
Oh,
and have like Johnny Depp as like the villain.
yeah.
And
You only need one more, and you've got your cast sorted.
I know I don't, maybe possibly Chris Evans too. I know that's like really throwing it out there, but I feel like he could do comedy and drama also.
Is
So
this Chris Evans? Hold on, which Chris Evans are we on about? Are we on about Chris Evans who played Captain America, or Chris Evans in Knives Out who was a complete and total a-hole?
Knives Out, Chris Evans.
Yes, I like that one. Honestly, I know Captain America, he's been quite serious and he's not really that funny, but I swear to God, in Knives Out, I've never laughed so much at any portrayal of any character he's ever done, but that movie made me laugh so much.
No, I love Chris Evans. Oh, I love that man.
I was
I've
expecting Robert Downey Jr. to come in and say, language?
hmm but I've loved him since Not Another Teen Movie
Yeah,
because
definitely.
he was such.
Right, so last question in the quiz. You starred with Dwayne Johnson, you starred with Will Smith, Martin Lawrence, but Could you name me 10 or 20 actors or actresses that you haven't starred with yet that you would like to star with before you retire?
Yes, I've always said my dream is to play Selma Hayek's daughter in a movie.
Salma Hayek it is.
So let's see, Selma Hayek, um, like I said, Johnny Depp,
Two,
um, hmm, oh, Robert De Niro for
three,
sure.
definitely. Are you having
Robert
Al
De
Pacino as well?
Al Pacino, I'd kind of be afraid to work with him. I feel like it would go either way.
Well, you can't really have De Niro without Pacino, but I suppose if you didn't want Pacino, that'd be fair enough.
I feel like I would replace, and I hate saying this because I love Pacino, I do, but I would probably prefer to work with Ray Liotta first.
I do like Ray Liotta.
Yeah. Um, but let's see. So Dwayne, Selma
I believe you're on four.
for okay. Oh man, there's just so
If you
many.
say Hugh Jackman, Ryan Reynolds will be crushed.
I'm not a fan of Hugh Jackman.
You're not.
I'm not.
Now
He
that is
does,
loyalty to
but
your co-star. That is absolute loyalty.
I would like to actually work with Ryan Reynolds because, like I said, he wasn't in the scene that I was in, so I didn't get to actually work
Um,
with him.
that's a technicality, so
Yeah.
I'll let him in. I'll let you have
Um, Probably, I think Anthony Mackie would be fun to work
that.
with.
Ooh, I'd like Anthony Mackie.
Yeah, I think he'd be fun to work with. Um, Anne Hathaway,
Oof.
of course, Meryl Streep. I mean, that's an obvious one.
Everyone wants to work with Meryl Streep.
Exactly.
Everybody does. Everybody's named Meryl Streep. Every time I ask that question, Meryl
She's a
Streep is on that
legend.
list. I'm like, what is it about her?
She's a legend. You can't be a
But
part of the industry and not want to work with Meryl Streep.
in hindsight, Anne Hathaway, best live action Catwoman we've had.
Yes. Um, I think it
I
would
think
be fun to work with Sylvester Stallone. And um, I can't think of his name, and it's driving me crazy.
Do you know what movies he's done? I might be able to help.
He plays Jack in This Is Us, and I can't think of his name. I'm totally drawing a blank right now.
Oh.
But he's been in a few of the movies that I like, and I think it would be great to work with him because he's really good with drama.
We'll call him John Doe then, but yes. There's your
I'm
10.
so
Do you want to
glad I
try
can't
another
think of his
10
name right
or is 10 enough?
now. I mean, there's honestly so many that I would
Maybe.
work with.
I
Yeah,
know, there always is. I
yeah,
mean, I've got Kit Harington here. Obviously, everyone. I would have loved to have done anything with Stan Lee, but unfortunately, he's not here anymore. Bless his cotton socks.
yeah. That's
I've
probably my
got
biggest regret.
I've got Mark Hamill's Joker down here. Still the best Joker there is. I've got Zazie Beetz from Deadpool down here. I have who else have I got? Scarlett Johansson. Wouldn't
Mhm.
mind doing something with her. And the one at the back that you can't see, I actually have, is Mark Calloway, aka The Undertaker, and I definitely wouldn't mind doing something with him.
You know who I would love to work with too is Keanu Reeves.
Who doesn't want to work with Keanu?
Yeah, I feel like that would definitely be on the top of my list. I was thinking about that and I'm like, why didn't I say that before? But yeah, Keanu Reeves for sure.
Now,
And Sandra
shall I
Bullock.
tell you the one thing I would love more than anything to get over on my sister is to actually do something with Keanu Reeves because she has had the biggest crush on him for nearly 30 years. And I don't know why she loves him as much as she does. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know he's a great guy. He's a great actor. He's a fantastic actor. But she's loved him for 30 years, and she will not have a bad word said against him, even if with his English accent in Dracula.
Really?
Yeah, he can't do an English accent in that. He can do a lot of accents probably, but he can't do an English one.
Yeah. Well, that's why like I feel like I would also love to work with Tom Hardy, but I would really have to step up my game big time.
He'd have to have a mask over his face, though. That's the point. That's the
Yeah.
thing. Oh, one more thing. And since you are a fan of the Adams Family, and I have told you this, you better call your agent because Tim Burton's doing a reboot of it.
I know. I've been trying so hard. I've been watching on IMDb like the production status and all that to see if Tim Burton already has somebody in mind because I would love to play that role.
Yeah, well, there's always other roles you can play in it. Just being a part of the franchise is better than nothing, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, Cheetah actually just won. I think it was a couple of months ago, the Raul Julia Award.
Uh,
So it was kind of interesting because I was like, wow, you see, Gomez is still in the family somewhere. So because he will always be Gomez. I mean,
I miss Raul Julius so much. I really
yeah,
do miss him.
yeah.
Even he made one of the worst movies ever made, just simply watchable, just because he was in it,
Hmm.
which is
Well,
Street Fighter, by the way.
my favorite story from the set, from of course from articles and stuff from the set, was I don't know if you know, his eye had actually popped out on set of Adam's Family.
Wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, his eye popped out on the set of Adam's Family, and he came back the next day, and apparently as a joke, Angelica Huston had gotten fake eyeballs and gave them all to the staff and the crew, and they all pretended their eyes were popping out and everything, and he apparently took it as a great joke, like he wasn't offended by it or anything, but she was a little prankster herself, so
Oh, bless her.
that's probably one of my favorite like stories behind the scenes.
And on the Adams Family's biggest fan, ladies and gentlemen, I give you Yasmine Habib.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you very much for coming on. The honour is mine, as it always is with my guests.
No problem. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.